Hi everybody, Miscellaneous here. Welcome back to my channel. This is where I take you to see offbeat, quirky and interesting tourist attractions. Today I've got a real delight for you as I've been to the Panopticon in Glasgow. Now the Panopticon is the world's oldest surviving music hall and dates back to 1857. The word Panopticon comes from Greek. It means pan, that means everything, and opti, to see. Now I struggled with this word, I really did. I could not get my tongue around it. I kept referring to it as the Pygmalion, as the Porphyrian, as the Papillion, as the Pangolin, and you'll like this one, as the Pornocopian. Now I'm not the first to struggle with this word. Apparently Glaswegians did in the 19th century. So for slang they called it the pots and pans, which transmorphed into that potty place. In British culture, potty means one of two things. It can mean a chamber pot for pissing in, or it can mean someone who's a bit gaga in the head. Come and take a walk in my shoes and I'll take you around this place and I'll tell you about three other P's. Three words that ensured the survival of this building. Some really famous acts have appeared here, the most famous of which I would say is probably Stan Laurel. He did his first public appearance here in 1906 after convincing the proprietor that he was worth it, quote unquote, because I am funny. As always, don't forget to click like, don't forget to hit subscribe and hit the notifications bell. If you like my video, feel free to share it and share it again. Come on, let's go.
We got to stand on the stage of this grand old building, which was open to entertain the working classes who had flocked to the city to find work during industrialisation. After a gruelling day in the mill, in the shipyard, in the factory or in the foundry, they needed somewhere to be entertained. Here I am at the back, and there is the bar and some costumes, and a vain old tart giving you a wave, and in the back room there are some newspaper cuttings on the walls. Now these were a tough crowd to keep happy, and this is the stage where no turn was left unstoned. This no-nonsense crowd would throw nails, shipyard rivets, manure and rotten turnips at any act that didn't come up to muster. The men would also urinate on an impressive axe from the balcony. Now the toilets nowadays are here, but I must go back to the three P's that aided this building's survival. Now the first is P. The Panopticon didn't have a toilet until 1893. Until then, men often couldn't be bothered to fight their way through the crowds to the nearest alleyway, so they'd urinate on the spot. Although I suppose it's perfectly feasible to imagine women doing the same. It is thought that this is why the Panopticon didn't burn down as many other similar venues did, caused by punters being careless when extinguishing cigarettes. It was totally and utterly sodden. Here are some props and some more advertisements. The second P is poo. Allegedly horse manure collected from the streets acted as a hand warmer and could also double up as a missile to be thrown at a bad singer or an unfunny comedian. The third P was prostitutes, and ladies of dishonourable virtue would ply their wares in the dark corners of the balcony, and this is known due to the large number of fly buttons still surviving locally as evidence. Incidentally, in modern times, I once met a lady who was as tattooed as the tattooed lady featured on the poster here. At one point, in an attempt to clean up the place, husband and wife management team, Mr. and Mrs. Rossborough, insisted that no ladies be admitted unless accompanied by a gentleman. The place has changed hands many times. Do check out my blog. I will always be a writer before anything else. Back in the day, up to 1,500 people would cram onto wooden bench seats up to 4 times a day, and those who couldn't afford to do so would stand around the edges. Acts that impressed this bawdy crowd would be rewarded with deafening foot stamping and thunderous applause. The music hall flourished and became more family-friendly under the management of Mr. and Mrs. Rossborough. The bill now included acrobats, trapeze artists, child performers and animal acts. Some of the greatest ever music hall acts, such as Mari Lloyd, Harry Lauder and Bessie Bellwood, graced the boards here, and songs from this time are still sung today, such as Ta-ra-ra Boom Dier and I'm Henry VIII I Am. Here is the very kind gentleman in charge that day, and he allowed us to go onto the stage. We had to go up by the stage door at the side though, rather than take the main steps. Now, the Panopticon moved with the times. In 1896, it became one of the first 300 buildings in the city to have electricity wired in, and by 1897, the animated picture became a regular draw. They even had an act called Dr. Walford Bodie, who would connect himself to electric calls and the audience would see his hair stand on end. In 1906, a man named A.E. Pickard, who modelled himself on American showman P.T. Barnum, turned the upstairs into a carnival, complete with a fortune teller and fairground games such as a coconut shy and a rifle range. There were also waxworks on that level, including those of the British royal family and a freak show. Visitors could come and see the likes of the world's smallest man, the world's tallest man, the world's ugliest woman, and the bearded lady here. Downstairs, he turned the basement into a zoo, which he advertised as Noah's Ark. Here you could see a collection of reptiles, birds, monkeys, a bear, and the cheeky chimpanzee Solomon, who was married to another chimpanzee named Betsy. Really, I couldn't make this up. Up until 1938, various entertainments took place here, such as boxing demonstrations, amateur nights, animal shows, and film shows interspersed with live acts. But in 1938, Pickard closed the Panopticon, unable to compete with the popular entertainment of the day, which was local cinema. The place was sold to a tailoring firm, and they blocked off the ceiling and upper auditorium. For many years, it was hidden behind plasterboard. A vain old tart again, and the founder of Friends of the Britannia Panopticon, which manages events and entertainments here nowadays and supports the Britannia Panopticon Trust, was stunned in 1997 to catch a glimpse of this very ceiling, along with the eerily undisturbed upper auditorium. Once again, music hall songs fill the hall as the plaster ceiling has been removed, the stage put back into use, and performances take place here once more. Upcoming events include a Laurel and Hardy film night, a tea and tarot event, a vintage fair, and a comedians competition. If I get the chance, I would love to come to an event here. This place is certainly worth an hour of your time, and it costs only £2 to enter. I just thought I'd show you a picture of the backstairs. Yes, they're quite shabby, but I wouldn't want them to be overly tidied up. I think it adds to the atmosphere of the building. I'll leave you with a photo of the entrance to the building, which is on a side street off Trongate, one of the oldest streets in the city of Glasgow.
Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I will see you next time for another miscellaneous adventure. Don't forget to keep your eyes peeled, as I will put some more Glasgow vlogs up here very soon. Remember to hit like, hit subscribe, and click on the notifications bell. Share my videos with all of your friends. Ta-ta for now.